In a time beyond the grasp of modern history, in the serene and timeless aura of ancient Greece, Leto wandered across the lands, her heart heavy with the promise of new life she carried. Twin children destined by divine fate. Her journey was solitary, as she sought a sanctuary where her offspring could enter the world away from the wrath of Hera, jealous wife of Zeus. The goddess Hera, consumed with envy over Zeus's attention toward Leto, cast her spiteful gaze across the realm, compelling Leto to search for refuge tirelessly. Leto traversed many landscapes, each refusing her a haven, either out of fear of Hera's vengeance or due to their own limitations. Her spirit, however enduring, grew weary as she wandered past barren ridges and across unsettling valleys, her exhaustion mirrored only by the persistence of Hera's indignation. No land seemed willing to offer asylum to Leto, who bore the weight of celestial destiny within her. Amidst her tireless journey, the island of Delos emerged from the waves like a silver oasis. Isolated and desolate, Delos was untouched by Hera's decree, free to welcome those who sought peace. Its shores, kissed gently by the dawn's light and caressed by a soft, nurturing rain, echoed with a promise of hope. On these welcoming shores, Leto found solace, her arrival heralded by the harmonious lapping of waves whispering reassurance. Delos, though unassuming, agreed to shelter Leto in exchange for the future favor and blessings her divine children might bestow. The island did not demand much, but the promise of hosting gods of such magnitude offered it potential prosperity and sanctity. Thus, a silent pact between goddess and island was woven, like threads of destiny binding them for eternity. With gentle breaths of the sea air surrounding them, Artemis arrived into the world, the first of the twins to bless Delos's sacred ground. Leto, holding her child close, noted with serenity how Artemis, even from birth, radiated an aura of independence and wisdom. She was a symbol of purity, ready to embrace her role in harmony with the natural world. Moments after Artemis's quiet emergence, the newborn goddess displayed an innate strength and instinctual wisdom beyond her youthful essence. With grace unusual for her tender age, Artemis aided her mother in the birthing of her twin brother. In an act that hinted at her future role as a protector, Artemis's presence eased her mother's burden, confirming her purpose to safeguard and support. As Apollo breathed his first under the nurturing embrace of Delos, the island itself seemed to revel in the divine aura. Twins of such power and promise born on its soil transformed Delos into a foreground for divine blessings. The bountiful sunlight of Apollo's destiny promised to illuminate the world, just as much as his sister's moonlit path promised gentle guidance. With the divine birth complete, a profound change spread across Delos. The sleepy island awoke to a newfound vigor, its fate irrevocably entwined with the twins. The rustling of leaves, the gentle hum of waves meeting the shore, and even the soft rain seemed to echo with the joyous presence of these divine beings. With the first rays of dawn breaking upon a glistening sea, the presence of Artemis and Apollo began to mold the world around them. The gentle waves whispered secrets of future journeys, while the island's heart pulsed with the energetic promise of these divine protectors. As Leto gazed upon her children, cradling them while the dawn softly unfolded like a gentle lullaby across the horizon, an awareness dawned that this was only the beginning. Artemis and Apollo, bathed in the early light of a new day, were poised to unveil their powers and shape the world in ways yet unimagined. Thus, on the rain-kissed shores of Delos, under the gentle embrace of springtime's awakening, Artemis and Apollo began their journey. The air was ripe with the whisper of legends to come, the beginnings of a legacy that would ripple through time, touching the lives of mortals and immortal alike. As the serene dawn light illuminated Mount Olympus, Artemis ascended the heavenly realm with a purpose. She moved with the elegance of the deer she so cherished, her eyes bright with the resolve of one who knows their destiny. Her heart carried the dreams of freedom and guardianship, and her mind was set firmly on her path. It was time to speak with her father Zeus, the great ruler of the gods, to secure her place in the world, both in the heavens and among the untamed wilds of earth. Arriving at the majestic throne of Zeus, Artemis stood tall under the rain-drenched sky, the silver clouds whispering promises of empowerment. She felt the eyes of Olympus upon her, an audience of divine beings pausing to observe the young goddess who exuded an aura of fierce independence. Her delicate yet unwavering presence commanded respect as she approached the throne, where the king of gods observed her with a mixture of curiosity and admiration. Artemis voiced her request with clarity and strength, asking for eternal maidenhood, a life free of the bonds and constraints of marriage. Her voice, though gentle, rang out across Olympus with the clarity of a mountain spring. She longed for sovereignty over her fate, a path unobstructed that would allow her to devote herself fully to her desires and duties. Her words carried the weight of conviction, and the gods listened intently, drawn by the courage of her vision. Having expressed her inner truth, Artemis sought also to be the protector of young maidens, those who looked to her for guidance and strength. Her realm, she envisioned, would include all untamed spaces, and she wished to guard the purity of both nature and the innocent with grace and vigilance. The wilderness called to her soul, a sanctuary for those who cherished freedom and the divine harmony of untouched lands. Her dedication was clear, and her spirit shone bright, reflecting the natural world she adored. Zeus, seated on his resplendent throne, listened carefully to his daughter's entreaty. Impressed by her resolve, he recognized the wisdom and independence she embodied. He saw a reflection of strength, not merely of physical prowess, but of indomitable spirit and purpose. Here was a goddess who understood the responsibilities she sought, one who grasped the true essence of the powers she desired. With a nod of solemn approval, he acknowledged the path she had chosen. In acknowledgement of her bold request, Zeus granted Artemis the gifts she desired. Her fingers wrapped around the beautifully crafted silver bow and arrows, symbols of her destiny to protect and preserve. These divine tools, bestowed under the gray sky, shimmered with the promise of purity and precision, marking her as a guardian whose strength linked her to the wild. Wrapped in this gift was an understanding, a promise that her path too would always lead her under the silvered canopies of the forests she would cherish. Recognized now as the protector of purity in nature, Artemis's aura spread throughout Olympus, her presence a beacon of clarity and protection. Her oath, like an endless echo, resonated through the halls of the gods, reinforcing her purpose and promise. The inhabitants of the divine realm admired her strength and clarity of purpose, inspired by the young goddess who embodied the ideals of wisdom and independence. As the rain began to soften, Artemis stood amidst her fellow gods, who admired the depths of her conviction and fortitude. Her wishes had been granted, her role acknowledged, and her spirit uplifted by the certainty of her path. Silence enveloped Olympus for a moment, a hushed reverence for the goddess whose destiny was now carved into the very fabric of the world. The world could only be grateful, for Artemis, with her newfound gifts, commenced her journey to protect and preserve. The wilderness and its children would thrive under her watchful gaze, and young maidens would look to her for strength and comfort. Her resolve became a source of inspiration, and the gods calmly returned to their realms, reassured by her vow and the future she intended to shape. The echoes of the oath guided Artemis back down the slopes of Olympus. A gentle certainty embraced her steps as she descended, the rain a quiet serenade to new beginnings. Her promise, now a living part of the world, bound her soul to the wilderness and the creatures who dwelled within its verdant embrace. Artemis, guardian of the wild and defender of purity, was ready to walk the lands, guided by her eternal vow. In the tranquil embrace of the autumn forest, where the gentle patter of rain lent a serene melody to nature's chorus, Artemis moved with purposeful grace. Her silver bow was an extension of herself, a symbol of her commitment to purity and protection. As she traversed the damp forest floor, the trees around her whispered secrets of their own, swaying in the mild breeze under the gray skies. Here, in this sacred grove, a sense of watchfulness emanated from Artemis's vigilant presence, ensuring nothing sullied the harmony she cherished. During her wanderings, Artemis encountered a group of nymphs gathered among the verdant foliage, their ethereal laughter intermingling with the rustling leaves. They were young and vibrant, exuding an innocence that mirrored the undisturbed wilderness around them. Seeing the goddess approach, they hesitated, awed by her radiant presence. With a warm and protective demeanor, Artemis welcomed them as her companions. She vowed to safeguard their purity, inviting them into a sisterhood that would flourish under her unwavering guardianship. The nymphs found solace in Artemis's promise, knowing they were shielded from the perils lurking beyond their airy realm. They basked in the comfort of her protection, their innocent hearts unburdened by fears of what might encroach upon their sanctity. The presence of Artemis was a beacon of strength, intimating that no harm would befall them while she stood watch. Yet, even in the haven of this sacred grove, danger was never far away. A lone hunter, seeking his own glory, or perhaps adventure, strayed into their midst. The signs had been there, trampled leaves and the distant, irregular snapping of twigs as he moved closer, ignorant of the sanctity of the grounds he had entered. His intentions unclouded by goodness, the hunter's presence heralded the potential for discord among the nymphs. Artemis, ever alert, sensed the trespasser's approach before he could violate the peaceful sanctuary. She stepped forth with measured grace, placing herself between the hunter and the nymphs, like the protective moon casting its light to hold back the encroaching shadows of night. Her stern gaze fixed upon the intruder, Artemis drew her silver bow, a shimmer of divine resolve accompanying her every movement. The hunter, realizing too late where his ambitions had led him, froze as the truth of his impurity was revealed by Artemis's discerning eye. Beneath her steady scrutiny, any deception fell away, leaving only his transgressions bare for all to see. Faced with the goddess's unwavering determination, he found himself stripped of conceit and bravado, his intentions laid raw, open for judgment by the arbiter of purity. With a poised and measured drawing of her bow, Artemis delivered swift and divine justice. An action devoid of malice, striking not from vengeance but from the necessity to protect and preserve. The forest bore witness to her strength, her determination a resounding call that reverberated through the lush, rain-drenched canopy. The nymphs, sheltered behind the steadfast figure of their protector, felt a burgeoning sense of security envelop them, their fears dissipating like mist in the dawn. As the rain continued to fall softly, a cleansing embrace upon the world, the reputation of Artemis as a vigilant guardian took root, extending its reach beyond the confines of the grove. Word of her righteous deeds, of her commitment to safeguarding innocence and upholding the sanctity of her domain, spread among both gods and mortals. Her presence became synonymous with justice and defense, a beacon for those who revered the purity she so deeply cherished. Under Artemis's protective watch, the nymphs rejoiced, their laughter once again a harmonious blend with nature's symphony. The goddess's bond with the wild, with all its untamed beauty, deepened into something timeless and powerful, an enduring testament to her role as a guardian of innocence. As Artemis stood amidst the towering trees, her promise kept, she reaffirmed her dedication to the realms and creatures under her care, ready for whatever new challenge the world might present. Closing her eyes briefly, feeling the gentle rain against her skin, Artemis prepared to continue her journey through the wilds. Her spirit was infused with a sense of purpose, knowing that each step taken reaffirmed her duty to the land and those who sought her shelter. With her heart in tune with the rhythm of the forest, Artemis moved forward, ever vigilant, ever protective, a beacon of strength in a world punctuated by gentle raindrops and the whispers of natures. Eternal song, Artemis, goddess of the hunt and moonlit forests, ventured deeper into the endless wilderness, her domain stretching beyond the horizon. With each step through tangled woods and over rolling hills, she absorbed the serene whispers of nature, a world teeming with life and energy. Her journey took her into dense forests, where the shadows danced light-footed, tracing intricate patterns on the forest floor. It was here, wrapped in a cloak of mist, that Artemis first beheld the elegance of a deer herd, their sleek bodies moving in perfect sync through the underbrush. These noble creatures, with their quiet grace and fleetness, captivated Artemis, striking a chord deep within her. She paused to admire them, her presence still and comforting, allowing the deer to draw near. The animals, sensing her benevolent spirit, continued their dance unabated, weaving through the mist with an agility that rivaled even the wind. In those moments, Artemis felt her connection to the wild solidify, threads of a tapestry woven from the whispers of leaves and the silent conversation of creatures of the forest. As Artemis blends into the rhythm of the forest, her acute senses alert her to disturbance, the urgent calls of villagers, panicked and raising their voices to the sky for divine intervention. A wild boar, ferocious and unyielding, rampaged across the fields bordering their village, sowing chaos in its path. The villagers feared for their safety and for the fragile livelihood upon which they depended. The beast's tusks gleamed dangerously, slicing through the stalks of crops, its eyes burning with a primal fury. Swift and sure, Artemis responded to the villagers' unspoken pleas, her footsteps as silent and deliberate as the passing wind. Upon reaching the village outskirts, she took position, her presence commanding yet reassuring. With calm precision, she unfurled the bow from her shoulder, the silver gleaming faintly under the latticework of the forest canopy. Her arrows were an extension of her resolve, infused with the wisdom and inherent balance of the natural world. Artemis drew the string taut, her focus unwavering as she tracked the wild boar in its frenzied charge. In a fluid, practiced motion, the arrow leapt from her bow, her aim true and steady. The forest seemed to hold its breath, and with a rustle of impact, the boar slowed, its fierce defiance giving way to the gentle hand of fate that Artemis wielded. Peace settled over the field as the villagers emerged, gratitude evident in their solemn nods and quiet murmurs of thanks. With the immediate danger dispelled, Artemis turned once more towards the living forest, her heart swelled with the sense of unity she shared with all living creatures. The animals, gentle and wild alike, seemed drawn to her in acknowledgement of her respect and heartfelt stewardship. Wherever she traveled, the woodlands whispered her name, the leaves applauding with gentle sway. Her affinity with the animals deepened, cradling them in a protective embrace as they too recognized the balance she brought to their world. Artemis's footsteps led her back to the villagers she had protected, her journey no longer solitary, but woven with the tales and lives she touched. With each visit, she shared with them the lore of her existence, the vital harmony and sacred duty to coexist with the world around them. Her teachings enfolded them, nurturing an understanding and respect for the bountiful earth and its creatures. As her legend flourished, so too did the villagers' ability to live side by side with nature, flourishing under the light of Artemis's tutelage. As days stretched into seasons, Artemis's name radiated throughout Greece, carried on soft winds that caressed the land. Her story, echoed across time, rooted itself in the hearts of those who chose to listen and learn. Her prowess with the silver bow and the art of living harmoniously with nature became eternal, shaping the world of gods and mortals. Her path continued to unfold before her, endless and beckoning, guiding her to new ventures and challenges yet to be revealed. In the tranquil embrace of the mountains, Artemis found solace. Here, amid the towering peaks and lush valleys, she led an expedition that would further cement her legacy as a master huntress. The skies were painted in shades of charcoal and sapphire as soft rain pattered lightly, creating a serene yet adventurous atmosphere that mirrored the essence of her endeavors. As Artemis moved gracefully through the mountainous terrain, her every step was imbued with purpose and confidence, characteristics that captured the admiration of both gods and mortals who witnessed her skill. Word of her prowess reached far and wide, drawing a group of eager hunters to her side. They traveled from distant lands, yearning to learn from Artemis herself. To these seekers of wisdom, Artemis was more than a goddess. She was a beacon of knowledge about the delicate balance between hunter and prey. With patience and gentle fortitude, she imparted lessons that transcended the mere act of hunting. Her words carried the weight of ancient wisdom, emphasizing respect for all living creatures and the importance of harmony between the natural world and humankind. As Artemis and her followers traversed the rugged landscape, a rare and sacred stag appeared before them. Its antlers were majestic, each branch stretching upward like the mythical trees of Arcadia. Enraptured by the creature's grace, the hunters felt a growing desire to prove themselves. Yet Artemis, with her innate understanding of nature's subtle language, taught them a powerful lesson in restraint. Refraining from the chase, she allowed the stag to pass unscathed, demonstrating the virtues of humility and the necessity of preserving the wonder that the wild freely offered. Through her actions, Artemis forged a deep bond with these aspiring hunters. She molded their eager minds to acknowledge the beauty and the fragility of the natural order. In the quiet moments beneath the emerald canopy, she taught them to respect the cycles of life, to honor the spirits of the mountains and the creatures that inhabited them. The hunters found themselves transformed, no longer merely pursuers of game, but guardians of the wild's untamed spirit. As they descended from the heights, the teachings of Artemis reverberated throughout the mountains, echoing in the valleys and carried by the gentle breeze. Her lessons on harmony and restraint etched themselves into the very stones of the mountains, where they would remain as enduring as the goddess herself. These teachings were not mere words, but a call to action for those who sought the deeper meaning behind every hunt. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows upon the land, but Artemis's influence lingered. The mountains, once mere witnesses, now resonated with the newfound respect instilled by their time with the goddess. A quiet awe settled among the hunters, a reflection of the transformative journey they had undertaken under her guidance. It was an adventure, yes, but one filled with introspection and the profound understanding that from the soil to the sky, every element was intertwined in a sacred dance of existence. As Artemis gazed over the now familiar landscape, she knew that her journey was far from over. Each lesson shared, each soul enlightened, was merely a step along an infinite path. The mountains stood as silent sentinels, their presence a testament to the goddess's unwavering dedication to her domains. With a gentle grace, Artemis embraced the tranquility of the scene, knowing that the seeds of her teachings had been planted to grow more resilient than any storm. Thus, the chapter of Artemis's call to the hunt drew to a close, leaving behind not just stories of her unparalleled skill, but also whispers of wisdom that would guide mortals and echo through the ages. As the mountains reverberated with her lessons, the goddess turned her gaze towards new territories yet to explore, her spirit ever vigilant in its protective embrace. In the mythological landscape of ancient Greece, where the gods and mortals often intertwined, there lived a queen named Niobe. She resided in Thebes and was known for her exceptional beauty and her children, whom she boasted were the most splendid of all. Blessed with 14 offspring, 7 sons and 7 daughters, Niobe's pride in them was profound. This pride, however, often manifested in unchecked arrogance, leading her to a blasphemous comparison. Niobe declared that her own fertility far outshone that of Leto, the mother of the divine twins, Artemis and Apollo. Such words, uttered against deities, traveled swiftly across the lands. Artemis, ever vigilant and protective of her family's dignity, caught wind of Niobe's audacious claims. The disrespect towards Leto, a goddess known for her grace and patience, was not something Artemis could ignore. Artemis convened with her twin Apollo, both equally incensed by Niobe's insolence. Together, they decided to journey to Thebes, a testament to their bond and their unwavering respect for their mother. Their descent from Mount Olympus was as if the heavens themselves were witnessing the price of hubris. Upon arriving in Thebes, the divine twins were greeted with awe and a subdued silence. Apollo, the god of prophecy and music, took the lead. His serene presence commanded reverence as he approached the heart of the city. With a solemn resolve, Apollo demonstrated his divine authority, strikingly silencing the blasphemous hubris that had dared to insult his mother. The people of Thebes, struck by the power and majesty of the god, trembled, their voices stilled and their hearts shrouded in a newfound respect. Artemis, embodying the unwavering justice of the wilds, stood alongside her brother. Her expression was one of calm resolution, and her silver bow, a symbol of her purpose, gleamed in the fading light of the day. Her arrows, unerring and precise, carried the weight of divine retribution, ensuring that Niobe's hubris was admonished. Each arrow met its mark with a grace only Artemis could achieve, reflecting her prowess and the solemn duty she upheld. The somber silence that enveloped Thebes was a tribute to the gods, a deterrent lest others harbor similar conceit. In the days that followed, Thebes remained cloaked in a quiet acknowledgement of the divine dispensation it had witnessed. The city, once vibrant with the queen's boasts, lay submissive under the watchful gaze of the divine twins. Niobe, bereft of pride and filled with remorse, became a poignant reminder of the consequences of defying the gods. Her grief was immortalized as she was transformed into stone, her tears flowing eternal like the rivers that nourished the land. This episode served as a profound reminder of the sanctity of the divine family and the reverence they commanded. It was a cautionary tale spread throughout the world of mortals and gods alike, underscoring the timeless truth that humility must always accompany prosperity. As the silver of twilight spread across the hills, Artemis and Apollo returned to their celestial domains, their task fulfilled with both compassion and necessary justice. With the sanctity of her mother upheld, Artemis's heart found peace. She turned once more to her true calling, the nurturing of nature's treasures. The wild places called to her, as did the creatures with whom she shared an unbreakable bond. Artemis's footsteps, though often unseen, left impressions of balance and respect wherever she roamed, eternal echoes of her guardianship. And so, with the threads of family honor restored and the land once more in harmony, Artemis knew her path. Her presence remained a steadfast promise, an assurance to the world that in her protection, the innocent shall always find solace. Artemis, the rhythmic beat of her existence like a gentle song across the wild, often found solace in the company of her beloved nymphs. These spirits of nature mirrored her own affinity with the untamed and unspoiled. Together, they enveloped themselves in days of tranquil exchange, deep in the heart of hidden groves where no mortal dared trespass. The nymphs, forever young and imbued with the coastlines and forests, delighted in recounting stories of their favorite hidden places where sunlight dappled the forest floor and whispers of ancient Breezes carried secrets across waters. In such serenity, a particular nymph, Callisto, would often rise among her companions, her spirit as radiant and lively as the first morning light. There was something captivating about Callisto's presence. Perhaps it was the vivacious glint in her eye, or the way she moved with a dancer's grace, as if she were more of the air than the earth. Artemis appreciated Callisto's undying zest and the fervor with which she cherished their shared freedom. It was not long before Callisto became a constant companion to Artemis, their bond a testament to the deep friendship forged in the sanctuary of the wild. As the crescent moon ascended into the midnight sky, silvering the lake's surface with its luminous embrace, Artemis and her nymphs gathered to affirm a bond eternal. Beneath this celestial canopy, the nymphs, bound by their nature, pledged their loyalty and friendship to Artemis, not as a goddess, but as a sister. In the shadows of ancient trees and the murmur of flowing waters, an oath of friendship was born, enduring as the stars above. A promise among eternal beings that their unity and lives would remain inseparable, tied to the fate of the wild landscapes they adored. However, the tranquil bond was soon to be disturbed. Zeus, ever watchful and prone to whims as unpredictable as the skies he commanded, took a clandestine interest in Callisto. The great god's unpredictable affections sowed unrest, disrupting the serene tapestry woven by Artemis and her companions. Zeus's interventions, driven by bewitched fascination, set in motion a cascade of events unforeseen by all. Callisto, caught in the tumult of divine desires, found herself drawn into a world of complexities unfamiliar and undesired. Artemis, often solitary and removed from Olympus's capricious intrigues, found herself empathizing deeply with Callisto's plight. Though gifted with immense power, she felt the sting of helplessness when faced with the consequences that Zeus's whims inflicted upon her dear companion. The nymph, once carefree and joyous, now mirrored the sadness of a storm-tossed sky. In Callisto's eyes, Artemis discerned an unfairness that even the eternal laws of nature seemed to fracture upon. Rather than succumbing to despair, Artemis extracted wisdom from her sorrow. She guided Callisto with a heart full of empathy, offering counsel that was as steadfast as the mountains and as enduring as the ancient trees. The ordeal became a poignant lesson on the merits of remaining true to one's essence and commitments, even amidst a tempest stirred by powerful and unpredictable forces. Artemis's voice, soothing and resolved, laid bare the courage found in facing one's trials without wavering from the values held close. Artemis's compassion only served to bind her nymphs closer to her heart. In her presence, they found solace and understanding, a sanctuary against the uncertainties brought upon by Olympus itself. Her nurturing spirit wove tighter the threads of their sisterhood, creating a tapestry of friendship that was both their shield and their banner. As the moonlight danced upon the lake, Artemis knew that though challenges would come, the unity they shared granted strength capable of enduring beyond even their immortal lifetimes. As the night deepened and the stars watched over, Artemis felt the quiet calling of nature once more. Her heart, ever attuned to the rhythms of the earth and sky, understood that new adventures awaited her beyond the ancient forest's embrace. There were wild places yet unexplored, lessons yet to unfold, and bonds yet to be strengthened. With a final glance at the serene reflection of the moon upon the lake, she bid her companions a gentle farewell, stepping with silent footfalls back into the embrace of the night, guided by Thur, summons of the wild. For in its call, Artemis found both purpose and peace. Among the many wonders that Artemis encountered in her endless journey across the pristine landscapes of ancient Greece, one figure stood out with a remarkable aura. Orion, a mighty hunter known throughout the land for his unparalleled skill and love of the hunt. His prowess caught even Artemis's discerning eye, bridging the worlds of mortals and the divine. Together, they roamed untamed fields and forests, their shared passion for adventure and the wild sparking an unexpected kinship that grew with each shared story under the boundless sky. Their companionship was celebrated by both land and creature, as Artemis and Orion moved through the untamed landscapes, each step a testament to their mutual respect and admiration. Such was the bond they forged, that the heavens themselves seemed to echo the tales of their adventures. As they hunted under moonlit nights and sunlit days, stories of heroic deeds and distant lands flowed between them, binding their friendship ever tighter. Yet, amidst the growing camaraderie, there lingered a quiet tension, an unspoken awareness of the stirrings this relationship caused among the deities on high. For the realms of divine beings were often as turbulent as the sea, and the warmth shared between Artemis and Orion did not pass unnoticed. Jealousy, a shadow ever lurking where admiration gleamed, began to weave its threads among the gods. Not least among those perturbed by this alliance was Apollo, Artemis's own brother. The unease climbed silently, whispering doubts and jealousies where there should have been celebration for the beauty of true friendship. It was these murmurings that set the stage for events unforeseen, leading to misunderstandings that would unravel even the most steadfast of bonds. A confrontation brewed, casting its shadow across the shores of the sea where once Artemis and Orion had laughed freely. Apollo, unbeknownst to Artemis, challenged her brotherhood by placing Orion at the center of a dangerous challenge. The challenge unfurled one day when Apollo, inspired by a mischievous impulse, pointed out a distant silhouette moving among the waves, daring Artemis to hit the target with her unerring silver bow. Oblivious to the true nature of this target, and driven by sibling rivalry, Artemis accepted, trusting in her unmatched skill. The arrow flew swift and true, striking where it was intended to land, and thus sealed a fate she had never wished to invoke. The realization of Orion's demise came as a tempest of sorrow upon Artemis. The profound loss shattered the serenity of her heart, a wound raw and aching that pulsed with the weight of unintended consequence. In her grief, Artemis sought solace in the stars, those eternal beacons cast across the velvet canopy of night. And it was there, amidst her tears, that inspiration came, a means to honor the memory of Orion, ensuring that the world would know his story and that their friendship would endure beyond the confines of mortal life. With a gesture both graceful and profound, Artemis lifted Orion to the stars, immortalizing him as a constellation for all to see. His form lit up the night sky, a tableau woven from starlight across the firmament, telling tales of their shared journeys to those who looked up in wonder. His image would be eternal, whispering to generations yet to come of a mighty hunter and of the goddess who cherished him. The constellation served as a reminder of the bond they had shared, a tribute to companionship and a consolation for her loss. As Artemis gazed skyward, the sea softly lapping at the cliff's edge where she stood, the stars sparkled back at her like twinkling tears. In their light, she found a poignant peace, knowing that his presence would forever be her companion in the celestial dance. And so, the night sky bore a new tale, one of unity transcending the realms, as Artemis continued her divine vigil, a guardian of the wild, wise and enduring, her spirit forever intertwined with Orion's legacy among the stars. With the stars whispering ancient tales and the gentle murmur of the sea beneath, Artemis found herself ready to greet the dawn, understanding now more than ever the enduring nature of love and memory. Orion's constellation gleamed brightly, a constant companion on her lifelong journey through the heavens and the earth, a beacon of companionship remembered and cherished. As the night gave way to day, the world awaited new ventures under her watchful gaze. The timeless presence of Artemis, the guardian of the wild, could be felt across the sweeping landscapes of Greece. Her influence was woven into the very fabric of the natural world, and this divine spirit was honored through the establishment of sanctuaries and altars dedicated to her. In villages and towns, from the bustling marketplaces to the tranquil outskirts, altars were erected in reverence to Artemis's guardianship. These structures varied in form, some simple and others grand, yet each was a testament to the protective veil she cast over the land and its inhabitants. The sight of these altars brought comfort to the people, a reminder that they were watched over by a divine protector. The shores of Delos, where Artemis herself was born, became a sacred pilgrimage site for those seeking her blessings. Travelers, pilgrims, and seekers of divine favor made their way to these hallowed sands, hoping to touch upon the ether of their goddess's birthplace. As they arrived, they would pause and listen to the whispers carried by the gentle sea breeze, blending with the lapping waves. This island, steeped in myth and divine significance, welcomed each traveler with open arms, a place where earthly concerns could be momentarily set aside in favor of spiritual reflection and renewal. In the profound silence of sacred groves, priestesses performed rituals to honor Artemis's name. These priestesses, adorned in garments reflecting the lush shades of nature, moved gracefully through the groves, their soft chants resonating with the rustling leaves. Each ceremony was a dance of devotion, where the rites they performed sought to echo the harmony Artemis brought to the natural world. Offering bowls were filled with seasonal fruits and fragrant blossoms, laid with care upon stone altars that stood like sentinels amidst the towering trees. Here, the connection between the divine and mortal realms was palpable, drawing those who yearned for Artemis's protection and wisdom. Pilgrims from distant lands would find their way into these sacred enclaves, their steps guided by tales of the goddess's benevolence. They sought not only wisdom, but also the strength to uphold their vows of purity, inspired by Artemis's own eternal commitment to maidenhood. The presence of Artemis was a soothing balm for weary travelers, who found solace in knowing that their journey was not in vain, but marked by divine grace. Throughout the year, festivals celebrating Artemis's virtues filled the towns with joy and reverence. These gatherings were vibrant mosaics of music, dance, and offerings, where communities came together to honor the goddess in unity. Children danced with wreaths of wildflowers upon their heads, while elders shared stories of Artemis's deeds, passed down through generations. Each festival was a tapestry of gratitude and admiration, threads of respect woven tightly into the cultural fabric. As tokens of gratitude, the people offered gifts, symbolizing their appreciation for Artemis's protection and the bounty she provided. These offerings, often modest and deeply meaningful, sustained her worship and fortified the people's connection to the divine. They were a reflection of the bond between goddess and mortals, a cycle of giving and receiving that honored Artemis's enduring presence in their lives. Though unseen, Artemis often walked among the people, her ethereal presence felt but not always seen. She witnessed their devotion, their whispered prayers, and their steadfast commitment to upholding her values, even in moments of hardship. Her spirit lingered in the fragrance of pine forests, the shimmer of moonlight upon tranquil waters, and the spirited calls of wild creatures that roamed the land. Through these dedications, Artemis's presence became ever more lasting, a guiding force that transcended time and space. And thus, through the countless sanctuaries, rituals, and festivals, Artemis remained a constant, sacred presence, her influence as immutable as the stars overhead. As these sacred spaces flourished under her watchful gaze, the world could rest assured in the gentle embrace of this eternal guardian. The legacy of Artemis continued to echo through the natural world, unfaltering, as each dawn heralded new opportunities for reverence and grace. As the chapter of sacred spaces draws to a close, the narrative seamlessly transitions, meditating on the eternal presence and guiding strength of Artemis that continues unfurling through the land. As the soft rain descended upon the ancient forest, The tranquility of the scene unveiled Artemis's unfaltering guardianship of the wild. The gentle patter of the raindrops on leaves whispered her name, a soothing melody carried by the wind across the dense canopy. It was a symphony of nature that spoke of a time when gods walked the earth, and Artemis reigned supreme among them, guiding both creatures and nature with her benevolent spirit. Throughout the verdant landscape, creatures of all kinds flourished under Artemis's watch. Deer grazed peacefully in these sacred woods, feeling her protective gaze upon them as they roamed free and untroubled. Birds sang her praises, their melodious tunes echoing through the trees, while the creatures of the night scurried quietly, knowing that no harm would befall them in her serene embrace. Artemis, the eternal guardian, ensured that harmony prevailed between the wilderness and its dwellers. In villages and temples spread across Greece, acts of homage to Artemis were woven seamlessly into the fabric of daily life. New generations, aware of her mighty influence, continued to honor her with rites that mirrored the past. Rites performed by priestesses in sacred groves, where the air was thick with praises to the unyielding goddess, were emblematic of the devotion shared by so many. These acts of reverence perpetuated her teachings, showing that purity and balance with nature were principles that would never wane. The land itself stood as a testament to Artemis's unwavering guardianship, where her influence resonated far and wide. Her lessons lingered on in the hearts of those she had touched, guiding mortals to coexist respectfully with nature's delicate balance. Pilgrims traveled from distant lands, seeking the blessings and wisdom that only Artemis could bestow. Their offerings, laid gently upon altars adorned with her symbols, were tokens of gratitude basked in the glow of her eternal light. Even the seas under her divine influence were a reflection of her steadfast power. Calm waters whispered ancient secrets passed down through generations, their ebb and flow a reminder of her enduring presence. Sailors, safe under her vigilant watch, spoke of journeys blessed by the serene hand of Artemis, knowing full well that her protection extended far beyond the land. She was a constant presence, woven into the fabric of nature itself, ensuring that the essence of the wild would remain untamed and pure. For those who ventured into the wild, whether to hunt or simply to be at one with nature, Artemis's teachings on purity and balance served as guiding principles. Hunters approached their task with reverence, embracing the spirit of harmony that Artemis so cherished. They understood that their role was one of stewardship rather than dominion, a lesson that had been etched into their very souls by the goddess herself. Through her vigilant eyes, the legacy of Artemis lived on, immortalized across time and space. Each rustling leaf carried the essence of her spirit, each footprint in the forest a silent tribute to her greatness. Her influence remained pervasive, abiding within the souls of those who walked the earth with an understanding of her sacred truths. And though she walked unseen among them, the devotion extended by mortals resonated deeply with her eternal spirit. Thus, Artemis's essence carried on, not as a mere whisper on the wind, but as a powerful force that drove the heart of nature itself. Her story did not end. It rather morphed into a tapestry of life, continuously woven by those she touched. Her presence was not bound by time or place. It was an everlasting imprint on the souls of hunters, protectors, and all who cherished the purity she held dear. As the forest breathed its gentle sighs of relief, the promise of Artemis's guardianship carried forth, ensuring that peace would hold as night descended, offering the gentle lull of restful dreams. To all, with the spirit of Artemis entwined with the eternal cycle of nature, a sense of calm persisted, soothing the souls of those who lay beneath her protection. The stories told through generations would always remember her as a beacon of strength, purity, and eternal guardianship, a reassuring presence that would endure as long as the earth remained.